Did you know that 17 Christians are killed for their faith every day in Nigeria? You can be a hero in this silent war. Join us and make a difference to help save lives. Visit equippingthepersecuted.org now to start your monthly donation, which will help create sustainable hope and take action to help protect an orphan or care for a widow. That's equippingthepersecuted.org. I want to talk about Deion Sanders and Colorado, and everybody's celebrating. Oh my God, they blew out Arizona. Man, they're 5-2. Oh God, look at this turnaround. Deion Sanders is back. He's done it. This is incredible. I'm not buying it. Deion Sanders is fool's gold. And what Colorado is doing is fool's gold. And yes, they may win 6 or 7 or 8 games this year. They may win 9. I don't know. But it's not one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. It's not that impressive to me, given the way college football has changed. This is fool's gold. This is a reflection of the transfer portal and being able to just buy up talent. You don't have to recruit talent. You don't have to develop talent. You have to buy talent. And yes, everybody's playing by those rules, and it's the same for everybody. Everybody can buy talent. Well, okay, so let's judge everybody on this new standard. Is what Deion's doing, is it as impressive as what the Zignetti's doing over at Indiana University? They're 7-0. And they just beat the brakes off of Nebraska like 56-7. Nebraska's the same team that ran the ball down Colorado's throat and beat them, I believe, 28-7. Deion and Colorado are benefiting from playing in a very suspect and weak Big 12. If you watch Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Tennessee, if you watch SEC football, if you watch Big 10 football, you can see the gap between the Big 12, the SEC, and the Big 10. The gap is enormous. BYU is the best team in the Big 12. Not knocking them. They're undefeated, and hats off to them. They won on the last-second play this weekend. Hats off to them. But that's not what's going on in the Big 12. Isn't the same as what's going on in the Big 10 and the SEC. It's not the same as what was going on in the Pac-12 last year. When Deion and Colorado face a team with a suspect quarterback, and this Fajita or Fajita or whatever the kid's name was for Arizona is a suspect quarterback. Didn't bring you anything in the running game, didn't bring you anything in the passing game. And Deion and them took advantage. And Colorado's defense is improved. I will give them that. And Colorado's 5 wide, throw it around the field offense, it's improved. But what the biggest improvement in Colorado is their schedule and moving into the Big 12 conference. I know I sound like a hater, and maybe I am a hater, but this is what I authentically believe. This is fool's gold. This isn't some great turnaround and comparing what Deion did to Carl Durrell or any of these other coaches that took over Colorado before you could just buy players, before you could just kick players off the team. This isn't the same rebuilding job. I was in Kansas at the time Bill Snyder took over a really horrible football program at Kansas State. And I watched the man take players that weren't his and turn them into great players. Turn them into guys that could win. I've seen other coaches take someone else's garbage and turn it into something respectable. That's not what Deion has done. So let's don't compare this to the turnarounds in the past. Let's don't compare this to don't even compare it to what Zignetti's doing because, again, and I know Indiana has bought some players, but he's having more success in a tougher conference than Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders is in a conference that's down and is weak, and he's been able to rush out and dump all these players where other coaches had to actually go through the process of developing players they didn't recruit, replacing them with players they did recruit, and winning at the same time. This isn't some historic turnaround. Call me a hater, I'll plead guilty. Is it nice what Deion's doing? Is it more than what I expected? Yes, it is at 5-2. It is more than what I expected. But every week when I watch these teams that Colorado's playing in the Big 12, I'm like, whew, Arizona's just not any good. Colorado State, not any good. They don't, UCF, not any good. College football is just different. And yes, there are now easier paths to a respectable record. That's what Deion is benefiting from. Great timing. Has he done some things better? Yes. Is his son at quarterback a really good player? Yes, he is. Do I think he's going to be a great player in the NFL? I'm not so sure. He holds the ball too long. I don't think he's got the right attitude. But Deion and the 3, 4, 5 wide receivers they have, those guys are good. And they went out this past Saturday. Something very subtle went on with them featuring LaJohntay Wester and not Travis Hunter. I think Deion thought he had an opportunity to sneak Shador back into the Heisman race, and he could sneak him back in hey, he doesn't need Travis Hunter to be effective, to have a great game. And they did that this past weekend. Travis played, but they, to me, leaned more into the Wester guy. I got so frustrated with the game. I'm just keeping it real. When Deion and those guys are playing well, it's hard for me to watch. So I didn't watch the second half with the kind of attention I did the first half. I got to be honest. I'm that kind of frustrated because, again, I don't like Deion. I don't want Deion's style of coaching rewarded. What he did by booting all those players off his team and treating them in the fashion he did, I just don't respect him. I don't respect all the rap music and the injection of hip-hop culture into the locker room, and while you're claiming a relationship with Christianity and Jesus Christ. I just don't like it. I don't want to see it rewarded. But give him a little credit. If you like Fool's Gold, you'll love Deion and what he did. Final thing, I want to play this clip of Deion opened his press conference with his son Shiloh seated by him. This is more of what I just don't like. It's about Deion and his sons. It's not about the team. Shiloh had an okay game, certainly better than the week before when he played like trash. He opened the game with a blitz and caused a sack or caused a bad play early in the game. But here's Deion and Shiloh at the beginning of Deion's post-game press conference.
Shiloh, go ahead.
I'm just here to just say that God is going to test you, and God tested me last week just to see how I'd respond. You know what I'm saying? Everybody goes through ups and downs, and, it's better for me that I went through the down. It made me lock in more, made me watch all my film. Just watching film and seeing what I did wrong and critiquing myself the most. I was calling my dad, like, once a day after practice, just talking about the day, how I'm feeling, how I'm seeing things.
The depth to play from, all it was football.
But you just gotta.
He needed that.
That just made me lock in and be like, all right, I'm the free safety. Everything should be in front of me, and I gotta put the zip block on the defense.
That's team just won. Deion starts out his press conference on a personal note with his son Shiloh. He thinks hey, this is a great message to a young kid. It's always about Deion and his sons. There's a bunch of other kids on that roster. Every kid in football, the game's going to humble you. That's a universal deal. Showcasing your son after he has an okay game, after having a bad game, and then putting him out there. God's going to tell you. It's fool's gold. Steve, am I over the top here denigrating Deion's amazing 5-2 record?
You know, you're going to be disappointed by what I say. Let's lay this out here. Arizona last year was one of those teams in the Pac-12, that much tougher conference, that they beat Colorado last year in Boulder on a last-second field goal. And we pointed this out last Friday. Once Jed Fish swam upstream to Seattle, I think it kind of gutted that team's soul. And look, I think you're being a little tough on Fafita. I think that change in offense has not been beneficial to him. They still have T-Mac outside, who I believe is a first-round draft choice. Here's what is impressive about what Colorado did. And I was watching this game with JB and Sean King on Saturday. The thing that was impressive was they were workmanlike. It wasn't flashy. They just got the business done, and they just methodically blew out an inferior team on the road. Take away who they played. Again, that was not Desert Swarm out there in Tucson. But the way they just systematically beat them, I was like, you know what? That's pretty impressive. They took care of business. And Jason, to be fair, I love Cignetti. All that guy does is score a lot of points and win. Google him, right? But he also brought in a lot of his own Louis from his previous stop. And his quarterback is an old Mac guy that you would appreciate, Curtis Rourke. And I hope he's okay for the next couple of weeks. With that being said, Jason, here's the difference when you start comparing Deion to other coaches that are trying to rebuild a program. There is a realization Deion's not going to be here past Shedeur and Travis Hunter. So that's why there is no 5-year rebuilding plan. Like other coaches get to a program, and in their second year, they're making progress, and you always say, wow. In years 4, 5, and 6, he's going to have this thing rolling. Jason, there's a better chance he's not going to be here by 2026 than there is that he's actually still the coach at Colorado. I think that's why your judgment and the opinions of a lot of other people on Deion are a little bit different, because here's the reality. If Shedeur goes pro, which I think he will, who's their quarterback of the future? Who's the guy waiting in the wings? And you know what Deion's already said about home visits and recruiting. I don't do those. They come to my house. Well, I don't know about you. This is where I'll be a little anti-prime. I don't think that's going to work at high school recruiting at the highest level, but that's just my opinion.
And that's why I don't want it to work. Butter, you got anything?
As a dad, almost most nights. What happened? Steve didn't like your response to him. He's laughing.
No, that was funny.
As a dad who's at baseball games almost every night with my sons, and I see all of these other fathers there, I don't particularly like how every father has his interaction with his son. Some of those fathers are coaches. Some of them are great coaches. All I can say is this. It's not for everybody, but Deion is in the middle of this with his sons, and I think there's some respect that I have for it. It's not how everybody would handle it. I understand your position, but there is some respect that I throw Deion's way. He's right there with these guys. He's right in the battle with them. They play hard. They're 5-2 or 6-2, whatever they are, and they're winning. So I got to say it's...
Well, I wanted a father's perspective, and you gave us one. And so I respected that, you're in the trenches. Are you how much are you watching your sons, or are you coaching?
I watch every game that I can. I watch every play. I'm not coaching them as a coach on the field with their teams, but we do a lot of work outside of it. So I'm involved with them heavily.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you should be a Major League Baseball coach or even a collegiate coach like Deion has done and take your sons with you, but that's fine. If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a moment of Fearless.